had this idea, the orchestra as an institution has made its mark in the world and in this country. And in order for the orchestra to continue to build on its history, we need to reinvent it.
Normally, when you get a commission for an orchestra, they tell you how long the piece is, how many instruments you have to use, what kind of style they might want, what else is going to be on the program.
It's never easy to experiment with the orchestra. When you get an orchestral commission by one of the big orchestras, what they want is a piece which makes them sound really terrific.
They're often not asking the question of what is possible, but what is palatable.
We decided at some point that what was really needed was to give the composer of the 21st century an opportunity to say, look, we're going to give you this orchestra, and this orchestra can mean whatever it is in your head. Why don't you pitch some ideas to us? Why don't you dream?
This is the first version of the performance interfaces that I've been working on. There's going to be 8 players from the laptop orchestra arrayed across the front of the stage. They'll be sort of like a violin section in an orchestra. When I make a change here, it's actually transmitted over the network to these other laptops here. So it's a kind of a collaborative way to build a section that's really, I don't know that there's an analogy to in a conventional orchestra.
For the ACO concert, I'm working on Armide, which takes the Baroque opera Jean-Baptiste Lully, which was written in the 17th century, and it's casting it in post-war Iraq and incorporating tactics from fractal geometry.
It was incredible to see the ideas, some of the ideas that these composers came up with.
We realized that there's a huge hunger for this. Historically, each century has added new technologies to the orchestra, and the 21st century is no exception to that.
Any orchestra commission is a big deal. This one is a particular big deal because we're bringing these two things together. One, it's got all the tradition in the world. One has no tradition at all.
The idea of having a manifestation of this work presented by the ACO is very significant for me in having it really come to life.
We need to reimagine the orchestra, and we need to rehear and rethink the groupings of the orchestra, the sonic qualities of the orchestra, what sorts of instruments can be called orchestral instruments.
So that's one of the kind of golden opportunities here, is to see if this works, is this a promising direction to go with the orchestra in general.
It doesn't mean that every investigation is going to yield a masterpiece, but hopefully in our curating, we've found a concatenation of really interesting composers with really unusual perspectives. And if we're lucky, we're going to get some real synergies going on.